Hello students, I hope you are enjoying with your family, but now it is study time. We will continue with statistics chapter 1. Our today's topic is related to questionnaire. We will continue with the method of questionnaire. First we start with the meaning of it, which says that a list of logically arranged questions relevant to the object of the study is made. Over here, the questions related to our object of study are made in a logical order. The space between the questions is provided for the answers. Yes, the space is given so that we can write our answers. A list of questions prepared in such a way is called questionnaire. The method of obtaining information using such type of questionnaire is called a method of questionnaire. Now, questionnaire may be used in direct inquiry as well as in indirect inquiry. It means it can be used in both the kind of inquiries. There are two ways of collecting the information by questionnaire. Very first method is by post and the second is by enumerators. Now, before discussing these two methods, we will discuss about the characteristics of an ideal questionnaire. It means what things we are supposed to keep in mind, how we are supposed to prepare a perfect questionnaire. Because the success of collecting data mainly depends upon the design of a questionnaire. Design of a questionnaire means how it is prepared, how it is made. A well-made questionnaire is known as ideal questionnaire. The following points we are supposed to keep in mind. The very first one is every questionnaire must have a covering letter or an appropriate title. Yes, there should be appropriate title so that the reader directly comes to know about the purpose of study. With the help of title itself, the respondent should come to know about the reason behind the study. The second one is related to the number of questions. There should be minimum possible number of questions in the questionnaire. We are supposed to take care of this thing. Long questions will obviously discourage the respondent to provide the accurate answers, especially at the end of the questionnaire. So, it is said that the number of questions should be fewer. No doubt there is no specific rule for it. But if the number of questions is large, say 25 or more, it is advisable to divide the questionnaire into various parts to ensure the clarity of the questions. So, the questionnaire, we are supposed to divide it into different parts. The next characteristic is the number of questions in the questionnaire should be consistent with the purpose of inquiry. It means that the questions should relate to the purpose of inquiry. There shouldn't be any such question which is not related to the inquiry. Our fourth characteristic is the questions should be simple, short and understandable. The questions should be self-explanatory, to the point, so that there is no confusion in the mind of respondent. The questions should not be ambiguous and dual in the meaning. For example, if the question is, are you educated? The respondent cannot understand the meaning of educated. Does it mean the education up to secondary or higher secondary or graduate? Instead, the question should be, what is your education level? Following 5 options can be considered. First, up to primary. Second, up to secondary. Third, up to higher secondary. fourth up to graduate, and the last is uneducated. The next character says us about the logical order. The arrangement of the questions should be in a proper order. For example, we are supposed to ask the person about his cell phone, say. So first I am supposed to ask him, do you have a cell phone? And then I am supposed to ask him about the opinion. If I first ask him about the opinion and he says that I don't have a cell phone, it means that my questionnaire isn't ideal one. So a logical order should be maintained. Another proper example is our school form that you people filled for getting admission in school. The next character is the question of sensitive nature or personal life questions should be avoided. We are not supposed to ask any question that relates to the personal life of a person. For example, what are the sources of your income? Now, if questions are necessary, if such kind of questions are necessary, then the enumerator is supposed to provide assurance to the respondent that the information will be kept confidential. The next one is answers to the question should be free from any calculations. For example, what is the price of all the electronic items that you are having at your home? Or what is the average income of the earning members of your family? The next is the questions having answers yes or no or multiple alternatives should be asked. Yes, MCQ kind of questions should be asked. But the questions whose answers do not have specific options should be avoided. For example, what is your opinion about the semester system against the yearly system in the education? Since there are a lot of variation in the answers like strongly in favor, neutral, against, strongly against, they are difficult to interpret and tabulate. Hence, if necessary, there must be minimum number of such questions in the questionnaire. Yes, such kind of questions should be less in number so that it becomes helpful while tabulating or interpreting. Now, next on the screen, you will find the example of a proper questionnaire. Students, now we will move on to the questionnaire by post. Now, after preparing an ideal, that is a perfect questionnaire, it is dispatched by post to the respondent from whom the information is to be collected along with a request letter to complete and return it in a given time period. Yes, the organization is supposed to dispatch that letter by post because this method is by post, and along with the questionnaire there should be a request letter also which will request the respondent to return it within the given time period. The other things are, it is necessary to send a blank envelope along with the questionnaire to all the respondents bearing the address of the investigator and a proper postal stamp. Yes, apart from the questionnaire, there should be a blank envelope also with it so that the respondent doesn't have to make the extra expense related to it. And on that blank envelope, there should be address written and postal stamp should also be there. Since the answers to the questionnaire are to be given by the respondent themselves, it is essential that the questions in the questionnaire are clear, short, simple, relevant and self-explanatory. Now over here, there won't be enumerator or investigator to take care of the confusion. So the questionnaire is supposed to be self-explanatory. Now nowadays the questionnaire may be sent through computer, that is email and mobile phone also because of technology. Now we move on to the advantages of it. The very first advantage is related to the field. When the field of inquiry is very vast, large, then this method is quite useful, helpful. The second one relates to the expense. Over here, we need not incur much of the expense. This method is simple and it provides large amount of information with less expense, as only the expense related to the post is to be incurred. The next is, by this method, investigator can get the information from the respondent of those areas where it might be difficult to reach personally or by phone. Yes, easy to get information from the areas where it is very difficult for the investigator to reach. Now we move on to the disadvantages. The very first one says that if the respondents are illiterate or they are non-cooperative, then this method becomes useless. The second is, sometimes the information provided by the respondent may not be correct, or even the investigator may get the questionnaire which is incomplete or blank. The third one is loss of questionnaire or the delay in getting the information because of laziness of the respondent. Now if the respondent doesn't post the questionnaire within the given time period, or if the questionnaire is lost by him, then the inquiry won't be possible. The next disadvantage is there is lack of assistance or a person who clarifies the instructions or gives explanation of questions that may arise. Hence, there is possibility of misinterpretation of questions. It means that in front of respondent, there is no enumerator or investigator to help him. There is no face-to-face contact in between them. So if he is having any doubt, if respondent is having any doubt, that can't be solved. So there is possibility of misinterpretation of questions. Students, now we move on to the questionnaire by enumerator. Now over here, the enumerator himself will take the questionnaire to each and every respondent. In this method, the enumerator themselves contact the respondents and get the response to the questions. Enumerator himself will fill the questionnaire over here. So this method is helpful even when the respondents are illiterate. Over here, the enumerator should be polite, honest and efficient in his work so that he can extract the correct answers to the questions by providing relevant and supplementary information to the respondent. It means if the respondent is having any kind of question, then obviously the enumerator can easily reply. Over here, the enumerator is supposed to create a friendly atmosphere so that he can easily get the answers. Now we move on to the advantages. The very first advantage is the complete, correct and more relevant information can be obtained from the respondent by selecting proper enumerators. Yes, we can get the correct information, complete information, because the enumerator will take care that he is able to get all the answers of the questions. The second one is the enumerator can get proper information by giving proper explanation to the respondents who are illiterate or non-cooperative. Over here, as the enumerator is supposed to create a friendly atmosphere, so he can easily get the information from non-cooperative respondents and also from illiterate respondents, because he will be able to translate and provide them with proper explanations. The next one is related to the completeness of the answers. Over here, there is no problem related to incomplete answers or loss of questionnaire, as the enumerator himself will take care of all these things. The next one is the information obtained over here is more reliable. Now we move on to the disadvantages. Sometimes it is quite difficult to get expert enumerators in sufficient number. Now over here, if I want the information to be reliable, to be accurate, then obviously I will need expert enumerators. So if I am unable to get the expert enumerators in sufficient number, then the inquiry becomes difficult. Due to large number of enumerators, the remuneration paid to the enumerators increases the total cost of the inquiry. Yes, the total cost will increase over here, because over here I want expert enumerators and large number of enumerators. So if the number of enumerators will increase, obviously the remuneration paid to them will also increase. Next is, it is very difficult to train the untrained enumerators, as we want the trained enumerators, the skillful, the honest, efficient enumerators. We want the reliable information also, and so we need to train them if they are untrained. The next disadvantage is this method becomes unsuitable when the respondents are spread over a wide area. In these circumstances, the cost and the time of inquiry increases. Yes, if the respondents are spread in a wide area, in a large area, then the company, the person is supposed to spend a lot of amount. Our next disadvantage is related to the respondent's convenience. Now sometimes it so happens that the enumerator is supposed to adjust as per the convenience of respondents, or sometimes the enumerator is supposed to visit the same respondent again and again, which becomes difficult for him to complete the inquiry in a pre-decided time. Among the three methods of collecting primary data discussed earlier, there is no definite rule for using a particular method. There is no given rule, a proper rule, which method to use and which method we are not supposed to use. The selection of method of inquiry mainly depends upon the following aspects. The very first aspect is spread of the area under inquiry. It means whether my area is vast or the area is small. The purpose of the inquiry, the reason behind the inquiry. The third is monetary provision. It means, is the organization able to spend a good amount of money or not? The time frame, the time limit. The next is possibility of getting expert enumerators, and the last one is standard of accuracy, the standard of reliability. So students, with this we are done with the primary data. In our next session, we will start with secondary data. Till the time, take care of yourself. Thank you.